All right, so correct me if I'm wrong, but this has to be one of the shortest Nolan films that I will review in this series. Like maybe besides his first film, this has to be, I think, the shortest film that I will be reviewing in this. No, because Nolan, of course, is known for his big, epic scale films. This one is only 106 minutes long. It is sub 2 hours, which, considering the context of this movie, it actually works out to its benefit. So let's actually delve into that, shall we? Of course, I'm Daniel Strong. Welcome back to QuickTime Reactions. And you have joined me on my Odyssey towards the Odyssey, in which I'm going to be reviewing every single Christopher Nolan film that he has ever made. And today we talk about his first wartime film. We will discuss his second one, Oppenheimer, at a later time and a later date. But this is the first time that he delved into the world wars. Of course, the movie that I'm talking about is Dunkirk. Like I said, this is written and directed by Mr. Christopher Nolan, and this movie stars Fionn Whiteheart, or not Whiteheart, Whitehead, excuse me, Tom Glynn Carney, Jack Loudon, Aneurin Barnard, James Darcy, barrykeoghan, Harry Styles, Kenneth Branagh, Mark Rylance, Cillianmurphy, Tom Hardy, as well as a whole host of others. And we are smack dab in the middle of World War II. British and French troops are surrounded at the beaches of Dunkirk, and they are hoping for a miracle to get as many soldiers off of this beach as they can, because they are practically cornered on land and at sea and also in air. So it's going to take some brave heroics to try and get these men off the beach. Will they be able to do it? We'll have to wait and see. So throughout this Nolan rewatch series, I've kind of given a label to all of the Nolan movies. Like, for instance, Inception being the hardest Nolan movie that people actually understand. Tenet being the hardest Nolan film that people don't actually understand. Interstellar being his most emotional. The Dark Knight trilogy being the movies that really put Nolan's name on the map. Insomnia and Prestige being his most underrated. So on and so forth. Here, this is Nolan's most intense movie, because, like I say, the duration of this movie's runtime, which again, short by Nolan standards, is pretty much the entire battle. It is pretty much this one situation, these men trying to get off this beach. And we follow three different groupings of people. You have the people by the mole, which that takes place across 1 week. The sea, which is 1 day, that's ostensibly the final day. And then you have the air, which is 1 hour on that final day during that whole week. So, much like he has done with the past with Inception, Interstellar, and would do later on in Tenet, he is messing around with time. Basically cutting back and forth between different perspectives during different points of the same thing, but, editing it in such a way to keep the tension at tops, at the highest that it could possibly be. which I think is a really, really smart thing because, you could cut from, the guys being hopeless on the beach to, a dogfight that's going on in the air or a pivotal moment that's happening on one of the citizen boats, so on and so forth. So I think that was actually a really smart decision by Nolan to kind of, segment it out across different time frames of the same mission, but to segment it out into different pieces. So I think that was a really, really good decision by him. Everyone in the cast is absolutely amazing. Fionn Whitehead doesn't have a lot to say in this movie, but is still able to convey a lot with his facial expressions. Same for Tom Glencarney as well. Again, another pop star or another like major, musical artist in a Nolan movie. Because again, I know people have been given guff about Travis Scott being involved in the Odyssey. But here we are again. We talked about David Bowie in Prestige. Harry Styles in this movie. And I thought he did a really good job in this movie. And, so I just want to, again, put the notion out there that Nolan has worked with these musical acts before in the past. Has been able to get some really good stuff from them. So don't go, poo-pooing the idea right now. And another thing that I want to talk about. People have been going on about the Odyssey and, how it's not historically accurate to what it was like during that time in Greece. And the dialogue isn't, they're not speaking with Greek accents or they're not speaking the language of that time. And I'm here to say a couple things. One, it's an epic story. So you just, let the people in charge of telling it tell it. And if you don't like it, well, then you can just read the original version and you can be happy with it. And two, let's think about this movie. Do you honestly think that the ships and the planes that were used in this movie were from that time? The 40s? Some of them might be. The planes definitely look like they were from the 40s. So I will give them that. But some of the boats, they looked a little bit past the 40s. Maybe not some of the like citizen boats, but like some of the destroyers. I can probably guarantee that some of those destroyers aren't historically accurate. So, how about we just pump the brakes a little bit and let's let Nolan do his thing. Please and thank you. Now that we have that out of the way, let's continue on with the review for this movie. The score. This is the last time that Hans Zimmer would score a Christopher Nolan movie, because you have to look and see what the next film in his filmography is going to be. Tenet, which comes out in 2020. That's when he makes the switch over to Ludwig Göransson. And also because of the fact that Hans was going to be working on the Dune movies. So he was going to be a little bit busy. But yeah, this is the last Christopher Nolan movie, as of now, to have a Hans Zimmer score. And Zimmer does an absolutely amazing job at keeping tension throughout the entirety of the runtime, whether it is on the docks, on the boats, or in the air. There's always a ticking sound. Now, there were some ticking sounds in Interstellar, that was probably the most famous example of, there being tick sounds in the score. But this, I feel like, is ever constant because, again, it's like you don't know what is exactly going to happen, when it all may just come crumbling down in the end, in terms of like their mission, I should say. So I wanted to give kudos to Mr. Zimmer on a really, really good score that just keeps the tension all the way through this movie. Hoyt van Hoytema, once again, back at it as cinematographer. His cinematography is really, really good in this movie, especially with the dog fights. The plane photography, I don't understand how on earth they were able to, well, at least I can understand how they were able to mount the IMAX camera onto like the wings of the plane to get like all those cool aerial shots, but to have an IMAX camera inside of the cockpit of the plane, that's insane. But also, there was an instance where the plane hits the water and goes underwater. There are multiple instances of cameras going underwater. Like, how in the world? But I think I might have heard somewhere that they may have destroyed an IMAX camera during the production of this movie. So I know that they at least destroyed a IMAX camera. But the fact that they didn't destroy more cameras is absolutely mind-blowing to me. And, this is a movie that I feel like Hollywood does not make anymore. Like, these nice, tight, compact action movies, but they have a lot of extras. Like, a load of extras, a lot of practical effects. Like, I can probably almost guarantee you that they were at the actual location of Dunkirk. And it all looks really, really good. Like, it looks really, really good. Now, do I put this up there as like one of Nolan's best films? No, I don't think so. But that is not to take away from this movie being really, really good. Like, it is still really, really good, in my opinion. Like, his writing and direction is ace. His cast, really good in this movie. Cinematography, absolutely exceptional by Hoyte. Zimmer's score is absolutely nail-biting and tense. It's just that, for me, I tend to lean towards, the Dark Knight movies and Interstellar, and another movie that I'm going to be talking about later on as my favorites of his. Whereas, this I would lump in there with Insomnia and The Prestige, where it's like, kind of under the radar, but still like really, really good. It's still really, really good. So that's kind of where I would place this movie. But that is just my opinion. What did you guys think about this movie? Let me know down in the comments section below. But that is going to be pretty much it for me on this one. I only have 2 more movies left in my Nolan rewatch series. And how fitting is it that it is his first movie and his latest movie before the Odyssey releases. Next up will be his latest, and quite possibly my favorite film of all time, which is Oppenheimer. But until then, guys, be safe out there, and always look out for one another, because you never know when you're going to be in a civilian boat, potentially being shot at by the enemy. So just make sure to look out for one another, because you never know when you might end up in a situation like that. And I will catch you guys next time.